today we celebrate the feast of St. Matthias, who is the replacement of Judas. We ourselves, human beings, are replacements for fallen angels. Our Lady is a replacement for the fallen Lucifer. And if we do not persevere, if we do not keep the Catholic faith, if we do not keep the state of grace, we shall be replaced. It's no problem. God has a certain number of seats to fill in for the perfection of heaven. Heaven already includes billions and billions, maybe something like 100 billions of angels, and we human beings are to replace with several billions, a minority, for those fallen angels. And Gregory the Great thinks that there is only 1% of fallen angels. Out of 100 angels, 1% has fallen because of the parable of the lost sheep. So it seems that God has created many more happy spirits, or there will be many more happy spirits in the heavens than those who go to hell. But still, for that minority of cases that fell off, God wants to make up for it with us human beings. So even if in the age of today more men seems to lose their soul than to save it, overall there's many more spirits that make it to heaven and that stay into heaven than spirits that fell from the plan of God. And so that's why we have to hold fast to the crown that we have received, to the faith of our fathers. We have to hold fast to it and to fight for it, whatever the cost. Even if it costs us that we have to say the Mass in a private home, for which we are very grateful. We have a nice little altar with Our Lady of Guadalupe and the Santo Niño. And we will continue to hold fast to these things, because we are replaceable. Can come inside, come inside. Yeah, there's a seat there. Yeah, come inside. All right, it's good. Two chairs, yeah. You see, we fill in the chairs just like the purpose is to fill in the thrones in heaven. And God is very patient. If the children of predilection, the Jews, are not interested, God calls the beggars, the lame, the half blind, all the low lives, all the people who seems to be not called by nature. All of us, who are a bunch of losers or coming from very strange origins, and they can call us crazy. Very recently, we've been called crazy, mentally insane by some beloved confreres, and they say that we are completely weird, that we have no authority, we have no mandate, and we are liars, we are rebels, we are in a state of revolt. They call us all kinds of names, but this is not what worries us, that they call us all kinds of names. What we want is to keep the same tradition, and that we can't keep that tradition if we go back to the Novus Ordo, if we reconcile with them, if we get this so-called canonical recognition by which we are placed under their authority, under the authority of the Novus Ordo. But still, our policy with the Novus Ordo hasn't changed. We are polite with the Novus Ordo priests, we go and discuss with them. I still go and discuss with the Novus Ordo priest, and I keep politeness to them. And we are still, in a resistance, managing many priests who are coming from the Novus Ordo. Father Nariai comes from the Novus Ordo, Father Hartley comes from the Novus Ordo, Father Elijah comes from the Novus Ordo, Father Suelo comes from the Novus Ordo, and Father Pancras comes from the Novus Ordo. Because there are good persons in the Novus Ordo, but they are better people if they join tradition, and if they reject Novus Ordoism, and they turn around and fight those things for which they stood in the past. All these 5 priests in Australia, that leaves only a few of us from the SSPX proper, myself, Father Valan, who else? Not much else for the Australia. There are some other priests are coming down the line, but that's only myself and Father Valan so far, who were hatched by the Society of St. Pius X. But the other ones, those for whom I rely for taking care of some groups elsewhere, those are coming from the Novus Ordo, and that's good. That's good. Who am I myself to make myself the judge of these 5 priests? We are not judging the Novus Ordo. The Novus Ordo people, I mean. We are condemning the errors of the Novus Ordo, yes. And then we will never return there, yes. And we have nothing to do with them canonically, yes, until they go back to the Catholic faith. That's a principle that was always agreed. Even Bishop Fele agreed with it. He said we must flee from the idea of a predator like a pest. That's what he said in 1996 or 1998. And he has other quotes where he says we must not reconcile. And that's the Bishop Fele who agrees with us, the old Bishop Fele, the good old Bishop Fele. Because we know what we have. And so it is not them who need to recognize us, it is them who need to recognize the Catholic faith. And these 5 good priests have done so. We didn't need to go to them and place ourselves under them. They came to tradition on their own by realizing that we are right. Not because we are right, but because Catholic tradition is the only way to go. Because it's the same religion that was handed over by the apostles. And you see, even among the apostles themselves, if one of the apostles fails, he is replaced. And St. Paul, that's the epistle of yesterday, St. Paul says, I chastise my body and I put it under submission, that is, I do mortifications, I do penance, I do fasting, lest I preaching to you, I become myself a reprobate and I fall off and somebody will replace me. And elsewhere, St. Paul says, if I come again with another gospel, let I be anathema. Throw me out. Get rid of me. That's what St. Paul says. Let I be anathema. That's what it says, Galatians chapter 1 verse 9. Just get rid of me, dear Galatians, if I show up with another gospel. And so this is what those 5 priests have realized. And so if we keep the same stand, more priests are going to go across from the Novus Ordo to us. And that's why we've seen those priests, coming straight from the Novus Ordo to the resistance. And that's a wonderful story. And there are others elsewhere, probably in the world, like Father Ribas. Father Ribas came from the Novus Ordo to the resistance. Father Iglesias also came from the Novus Ordo to the resistance. Because nothing is changed for us. We have no hard feelings towards any of these priests, whether they be from the XSPX, from the Fraternity of St. Peter, from the Novus Ordo. They are priests and we respect them. But the message has to stay the same. The message is not going to change because the message is coming from the mouth of our God. And so when Ezekiel said, Lord, I'm not interested, that's too much of a job, they're going to kill me, they're going to cut me to slice, they're going to cut me to pieces. God says, well, Ezekiel, in that case, I'll find somebody else to replace you and you will be lost. So Ezekiel said, no, please, send me, I'll take care of the job. We are replaceable. Saul was replaced by David. And David kept on saying to Saul, I am not your replacement. You are the king of Israel. I have no intent to kill you. There it is. I got your the lance. I got your lance, and I've got your jar, your water jar. I crept in your tent at night. I stole these two items. I could have killed you. It would have been so easily for me. Why do you always think that I am your replacement? I have no intent to replace you. I have no intent to supplant you, and I've got no intent to kill you. Don't you recognize that? And David was yelling from a nearby hill, and Saul answered, I understand, David. I understand that you will mean no evil. Forgive me, David. And so that was a good moment of Saul. And so it went back and forth in the soul of Saul. But eventually Saul fell off, and it's a very sad story. But look, David always tried to persuade Saul and to show kindness. But there are things that David could not change. That is the law of God, the law of charity, that Saul was breaking all the time. And there are also plenty in the history of salvation. There are plenty of stories of replacement, like you Filipinos are the replacement for those souls who left the Catholic Church at the time of Martin Luther. At the same time as Germany, or 2/3 of Germany, or half of Germany was losing it, well, new fields were open for the salvation of souls. And as we Gentiles are walking away from the faith, it seems that the day of the conversion of Israel is getting nearer. It's one of the signs of the conversion of Israel. St. Paul says it clearly in Romans 11. He says, you Gentiles, don't be proud, because they fell off. That's why you are in. But one day you will be out and they will be back in. That's what the switch of the missal at the Mass expresses that. The Mass starts on the side of the Jews, on the southern side of the altar, then it goes to the north, the side of the Gentiles. At the end of the Mass, at the end of time, the Gospel returns where it came from, to the side of the Jews. And so we should work our salvation in trembling, because we don't know whether or not we are going to stand or not. Whether the time will be accomplished when God will not see any fidelity in us Gentiles, and He will call the Jews back in on the occasion of us losing the faith. Because again, there's one thing that we cannot change. It's our Catholic faith, as written in our good old catechisms. This we cannot change. And that's why we have nothing to do with the Novus Ordo. It's called the principle of nullam partem. That we have no part, nothing to do with heretics. This has been taught by St. John in the Epistle of St. John, in St. Paul. The heretic, after one or two admonitions, don't have any conversation with him. No, if he doesn't listen to you. If he listens to you, it's different, says St. Paul. But if he's not listening to you, let him go. Cut off. He's cut off. He's gone to his own devices. So that's the way it is. And Our Lady's got nothing. She does not dialogue with the serpent. She simply wipes him out. She crushes him, because she's not like Eve. She's not entering into a dialogue with a serpent, because she knows who she is, and she knows who he is. She is the Immaculate One. That is, this Immaculate Conception, she has nothing to do with the mystery of evil and with the mystery of error from the very beginning. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Ghost.